Welcome to the first ever student section show here on Cyclone Fanatic After Dark. My name is Lucca. I'm here with Taten and Nathan. How are we doing, guys?
Good.
Pretty good.
Super excited to get started.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to be great. So just, a little background on us. We are all current Iowa State students, and I believe this is the first time that CF After Dark is hosting a kind of student-led show. So I'm really excited to get into it. And today we're just going to talk about some football. Obviously, the season's starting in just a few weeks. Now, we're all on campus, all in dorm rooms or apartments or whatever. So, yeah, I'm really excited. And, yeah, how are you guys feeling about football season?
Good. I'm feeling great. I'll start with some introductions. So I'm Nathan Porter. I'm a senior at Iowa State. I'm studying sports media and communications. I think everyone here is studying sports media and communications. So, we're studying sports and doing sports in our free time. So excited for the football season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of piggyback off that. I'm Taten Amy. I'm a junior studying sports media, mass communications, as Nathan said. For the football season, super excited to get rolling. It's going to be a different year, a whole new set of everything, but it'll be fun to watch develop.
Yeah, my name is Lucca, and I am a current incoming freshman here at Iowa State. I'm from all the way out in California, but super excited to be here in the beautiful Iowa. I'm also studying sports media, and I also work for Iowa State on Sports Illustrated. I'm on Twitter. All of us are, so definitely drop some follows there. And I'm super excited to get into it now. Obviously, Iowa State, their season is definitely going to look pretty different now without Matt Campbell for the first time in a long time. I believe he had a 10-year tenure there. Also, no more Rocco Becht, who we saw for a long time. It's going to be a very different year. Not a single starter on offense or defense returning. We do have Kyle Conradi back and a bunch of new guys in the transfer portal. Now, it's going to be a great season. Nathan, I want to hear kind of how are you feeling going into the year?
I think every time a new season starts for Iowa State football, you have that feeling of what's this season going to look like? Because I feel like every year, even when Matt Campbell is here, although it was more consistent, it's still something of what is going to happen. You never really know. And this year is a different feeling of that in the sense that like everyone's gone. And obviously that's been the story surrounding all of summer is that everyone is gone. And I really think that Jimmy Rogers obviously has his hands full with everything. And this season especially will be entertaining and hard to watch because you're going to watch a lot of tough losses with how much we've lost. But also it's going to be entertaining because you'll see the players breaking out that this guy's a sophomore. He'll be here for a couple more years. Or whatever it may be. So it's a really sweet and sour feeling because, I'm not expecting the world, but I'm not expecting the worst. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of go off of that, like you said, don't expect the best, but also being Iowa State fans, us three could talk about it all day long about the heartbreaks that we've seen forever and ever. It feels like it's every year in, year out. But still super excited. I'm really excited to see some of these transfer guys. Rayner was super cool to watch all season long last year. We watched him in Ames last year and kind of torched the defense a little bit with his legs. So that was kind of fun to watch. It's exciting to see him in a new system under a new head coach with all new players. It'd be kind of fun to see him kind of come together.
Yeah, you spoke a little bit about the quarterback, Jalen Rayner. I want to talk a little bit about the defense because I'm really excited to see. Now, Jimmy Rogers is obviously a very defensive-minded coach, and he's bringing a lot over from Washington State. Sullivan Schlimgen, I think is how you say it. Isaac Terrell, Malachi Taase. A lot of defensive guys that I think are going to be great and just a bunch of really, high impact guys at Washington State, as well as a couple other guys, Jaheim Singletary from Arkansas comes to mind, Seth Johnson from Montana State, a couple corners, there's a ton of guys, Montrez Smith coming in from Austin P. There's so many really interesting guys on this defense, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to be able to compete in year one under Jimmy Rogers. But yeah, guys, I think, it's time. Should we go through game by game predictions?
I think so.
It's the best way to start a season is to
awesome.
look at what is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to start here with the Simo Redhawks now. Obviously, Simo, I believe, went 4-8 last year in the FCS. Has a lot of work to do, definitely. But yeah, Iowa State gets host. And they played him a couple years ago, I think in like 2021 maybe. They were able to take him down really easily. But now, there's a lot of transfers. We'll see what happened. Taten, why don't you give me your score prediction here?
Yeah, score prediction. I mean, give me an Iowa State win. I think they win it by 2 or 3 scores. I do think there's a lot of hiccups though in this game. It's not going to be the cleanest game you've ever seen, obviously, and we've seen Iowa State do it a lot too in their opening games, even under Matt Campbell. Sometimes they just start the season off flat, not the way they want to start. So yeah, I would expect to see quite a few misplays, but also at the same time, it is FCS school Simo. Should be able to get it done, and also should be able to put points on the board. Should be, I think Iowa State's offense will finally start to find its footing a little bit there here in this game. I mean, they've got to start off on the right foot, so I think they've kind of got to in a game like this.
Yeah, and I think it's important, especially going against Simo, to start to work out all the kinks with the new offense, because a lot of these guys, it's completely new for a lot of them. I mean, you have connections there with like Rayner and his tight end coming over with him. But for the most part, a lot of these guys are brought from other places into like a puzzle, and it's just a matter of if they fit. So I think Simo, the biggest part about that is hopefully they win. They should win at least. But also, what does it look like? Because if it doesn't look easy, it's something that's sort of concerning. Because although there are going to be kinks, it should be easy, especially with the level of caliber these guys are that they brought in. And then also, whatever they do look like is going to tell us really a lot about the beginning of the season, what the beginning of the season is going to look like, especially the first couple games. And then the nervous part about it is if they look bad against Simo, you got to go to Iowa City and then play the Cyhawk. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want to speak a little bit about Fortenberry because I think this is a massive game for him. With Rayner, they had a connection, almost 300 yards together last year, a couple touchdowns as well. Fortenberry is a good player. I know a lot of people, I made a tweet a couple days ago that I had him as one of like a top 5 player on this Iowa State football team. And a lot of people didn't like it, but I really do think that Fortenberry is a great player. He's got some size to him, and, that connection I think is going to be super important. The reality is Jalen Rayner, even though they did have, spring ball and fall camp, all that stuff, like it's different when you're on the field, and having Fortenberry there as a piece, at least he knows, it's just going to make things a little bit easier. But I'm going to go, I think Iowa State wins 24-3 against Simo. It's not going to be easy. Definitely not. It's going to be very ugly for sure. Like Nathan mentioned with the puzzle pieces, all that stuff. It's going to be tough, but I think Iowa State is able to get it done. And go into Iowa City week 2 now. That's going to be a really big one. Obviously, Cyhawk, massive rivalry. Taten, let's hear it.
Honestly, this is the one game that I really don't know. I mean, I think I want to give it to Iowa just because they're coming back with a roster that's played together more. Longtime head coach, been there forever in Ferentz. They put together the same team just about every single year, it seems, and it's pretty much the exact same team every single year now with the heavy defense and not great offense. Honestly, the offensive line is really just going to have to do something this game if Iowa State wants to get it done. I think that if the offensive line is moving the way that they should be, giving Rayner time, giving the running backs room to run, giving Rayner room to run, I think that helps a lot. But at the end of the day, like I said, Iowa still got that quarterback question. They don't really know what they're doing there. A lot of question marks for both teams in this game, second game of the year. Right now, I want to say Iowa State because I can't ever have Iowa State losing to the team out west. But for now, I suppose it's who knows. Out east, sorry about that. But for now, who knows?
Yeah, this game is going to be so weird for so many reasons, and also there's so many different storylines besides the Cyhawk storyline. Like Iowa State has won the past 2 years in Iowa City, but also you got to take consideration none of those guys are still on the team pretty much. So it's like all these new guys who are new to the rivalry who majority haven't played against Iowa. Like you have Amari Hayes from Michigan State, Evan Boyd from Michigan State who's played Iowa, but like the Cyhawk rivalry as a whole is new to this team, not the university. But I think that's going to be a huge part of it. And a lot of it, like Taten mentioned, it's not this. I mean, the same old Hawkeyes. Like, yeah, it's you can say that, but it also doesn't mean like fully it's the same team. But pretty much we know what to expect. And I think that was a big reason why Iowa was ranked 22 in the AP is because you know what to expect from Iowa, the defense and everything like that with Ferentz. But I think, me and Lucca were talking about this the other day. I gave them out of 10 a 4 out of 10 chance to win. looking back at it, maybe like a 3 out of 10, like a 30%. But regardless, I still think Iowa State does have a chance here. And Lucca, I know, looked at me like I was crazy, um, but like I think that a lot depends on the run game. If Iowa State can stop the run game with the defensive line, which I'm really bullish on this year, I really like Iowa State's defensive line. I think that's going to be a huge part of it, especially is because both teams, I don't know how the passing game is, but one thing I do know is Iowa runs the ball. And if they can't run the ball, it's a lot harder for them to win. So the biggest part is stopping the run. And then one quick side note that I really like is, so this game is a 10-year anniversary from when Matt Campbell played Iowa in the Cyhawk game in his first year coaching, also in Iowa City. So this is the 10-year anniversary of a first-year head coach playing in Iowa City in their first Cyhawk game. And Taten, I don't know if you remember, or Lucca, do you remember the result of that game in 2016?
I remember Iowa won it, and I also
won.
I say I don't believe it was super close. If that it's
I
been
remember
a long
Iowa
time.
State lost to UNI that year, so that's
42-3.
Oh my!
I was say because
42-3.
Iowa State did start off like 2 or 3 wins. I know it was 3 max under Matt Campbell first year.
Yeah.
I remember when he came in for the first time, and my family was I was super excited about it, being Iowa State fans forever. But now going on to another new coach, it's another situation of what do we really expect. Then though, this situation is a lot different, obviously, when Matt Campbell came in, because when Matt Campbell came in, the team couldn't win more than 5 games a year anyway. So now it's changed up a lot. Another thing about this game too is it's going to be a lot on the transfers. A lot of these guys haven't played a top 25 team, a team like Iowa. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how the transfers do against an FBS school ranked in the top 25.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you guys. I do think that Iowa is, pretty good, kind of same old Iowa. But I will say I don't think that, they have a lot of new guys. I don't really think they have the same kind of return rate that they usually do. And yeah, I mean, the defense is great, but some of it's new. The offense is, always pretty new. Obviously, the run game is great. I do think Iowa State kind of matches that pretty well, but yeah, even though I'm not super high on Iowa, I do think they get the dub at home at Kinnick. I'm going to go 21-9 here. I think 3 Canardi field goals. I think that it's going to be really tough for the Cyclones to move the ball down the field. And I don't think Iowa is going to be amazing or anything, but it's going to be a lot in the run game. And yeah, I think it's going to be a tough loss. If this game's week 10 in Ames, I think the Cyclones win it. But week 2, when you have a lot of transfers in, when you're going to Iowa City, it's not going to be easy. So unfortunately, I'm going to go with the Hawks in week 2. Now, week 3, Iowa State is going to host Bowling Green. This is going to be a pretty interesting one. Second home game of the year. First home game against an FBS opponent. What do you guys think, Taten?
Well, I think to start off with this game, we'll have 2 weeks under the belt. We'll know what to kind of expect from the Iowa State team. We know what they're going to be good at, what their maybe weaknesses are going to be, or at least have an idea figured out, or a better one than we've got right now. So, I mean, I still think Iowa State gets this one done against Bowling Green. Again, going to see some more growing pains against another FCS school, especially right after coming out of Iowa. Going to be interesting. Should be a win. But like I said, who knows what to really expect on where the strengths are going to be at. It just kind of depends on how the first 2 games go and what they can kind of build off of them.
Yeah. I really like the placement of this game in the schedule specifically. Like, that's my biggest part of this game, is that where it is, it's being the 3rd game. So like if Iowa State loses to Iowa, it's a real good bounce back game to sort of get your feels back and beat a team that you should beat, and get back into the flow of things. But also, if you beat Iowa and upset Iowa, it's also nice because it's sort of an easier game. You can take a little bit of gas off the pedal and still feel comfortable winning. So either way, I like this game a lot for Iowa State. I do think they win this game and that they should win this game. I really like Cameron Petway, though, in this one. A lot of the reason because he came from Bowling Green. And I've been bullish on Cameron Petway a lot. I think he's RB1 over Aiden Flora. I think they will split reps. But Cameron Petway, I think, is going to be a difference maker this season. And this Bowling Green game is just like set up for him to have, I don't know, like, I'll say 90 yards rushing, and I'll give him 40 yards receiving. I think receiving is going to be a big part.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping they kick the ball to Petaway so we can have a chance to get a return going. Would be pretty cool because he's a phenomenal kick returner. Yeah, I think Iowa State wins this game. I will say though, Bowling Green is always pretty good in the MAC. They have a new quarterback, Austin Novosad. He came from Oregon. Didn't really play too much there, but Bowling Green's always a decent football team, and it's never easy to beat a team like that. I think it's actually going to be pretty close because I do think they're going to get chopped up in Iowa City a little bit. And coming home, it's going to be easier. They'll get the win, but I think it's probably like a touchdown or maybe 10-point game because this Bowling Green team is no joke. And then the next game.
Like what you were saying is going back real quick is, I mean, they're like Iowa with how consistent they are. Like you said, like they're good. 100. I mean, they're consistent with 151. Let me make sure. 151.3 pass yards a game last year and 155.5 rush yards. So like the offense is so split evenly that they're all well a pretty round team. Now, obviously the loss of Petaway, I don't know how much that affects the rushing yards, but a lot of it I think is going to be how well Iowa State can defend the run and the pass, not just the run like they would in Iowa City.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then next up, they're going to host Utah. This is going to be a really fun one. Whiteout game. Absolutely cannot wait for this one. I'm going to have the family come out from California for this one, hopefully. It's going to be a fantastic one. Taten, let me hear it.
I honestly think Iowa State gets it done. I know that Utah has a lot of preseason hype, ranked, I believe, 7th on the power ranking of the Big 12. So a lot better than a lot of other people thought they were. That also comes with the Big 12 having so many teams ripped apart and put back together that by transfers. But Utah was one of those teams. They lost most of their offensive linemen. They're going with a new head coach. It's a lot has changed for them too. And again, Iowa State gets this one at home. I think it's a great game to play in Ames. It's a trip for Utah, obviously, with the additions of those schools to the Big 12 a few years ago. We knew that was going to kind of maybe be an issue. So Utah has to travel all the way up here to Ames. I think Iowa State, like I said, gets it done, especially just because Utah's in a very similar situation. They've got a few key pieces back from last year, but lost a lot of the offensive line, I believe, for the starting offensive linemen. And then the new head coach, again, it's a new situation for both schools, but I think Iowa State gets it done.
Yeah. And real quick, remind me, Taten, last year the whiteout game was Arizona, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't go last year to the whiteout game. Unfortunately, I wish I did. But 2 years ago, I was at the whiteout Baylor game, and like Jack Trice as a whole, like you hear like the Hilton Magic stuff with basketball, but on whiteout, it was like, dude, like Jack Trice magic. It was crazy. It was the complete vibe of whiteout night in Iowa State, especially when they wear those whiteout uniforms, is just something different. There's something different about the energy. I think that will legit play a huge play into it. Where like the NFL, you can say like, oh, fans, they don't make that much of a difference, or these things don't make that much of a difference. In college football, it's like home field advantage is a real thing. There's a reason Iowa City is so hard to play in. And the fans are, when they're going, especially on whiteout night, that's going to be a huge factor. And I think that they need that to beat Utah. And so that's why I think being at home is a huge part of this game. Also, you hit on it, the offensive line, that's also a big part. Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu, two great offensive linemen going in the first round this past year. That's going to hurt them. And also, you have to look at the other side of things, though, is Iowa State. Their offensive line together has 15 combined starts in FBS coming to this game. So two really up in the air offensive lines. And I think this is going to be a really defensive game. And so also the first year head coach, there's a lot here that's very parallel with the two teams. So this game I think can go either way, even though a lot of people don't think that. And so I'm going to give Iowa State the whiteout win here.
Wow. That's pretty bold from you guys. Personally, I think Utah's going to get it done. I know you guys kind of talked a bit about the O-line, but yeah, I mean, obviously they did lose, some important guys, but Utah's always able to field a good O-line. And I mean, I think regardless, the run game is fantastic with Devin Dampier at quarterback. I mean, he can throw the ball, but he's more of a rusher. Wayshawn Parker, same way, he's returning. He had like 800, 900 yards last year for him. He's come back for another year. And overall, this Utah run game is fantastic. And I think that'll play a big part. Yeah, I mean, Iowa State being at home, being a whiteout game. I've never been to a whiteout at Jack Trice, so Obviously you guys probably know more than me, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. But at the same time, I'm acknowledging that Utah, they're probably just a little bit more consistent. Their head coach, even though it is a new head coach, he's been within the program for a long time. So I do think that Utah is going to be able to get a win. It's going to be very close. Probably potentially the most electric game of the season. But yeah, I think Utah just get out of it. The next up, we have West Virginia, I believe homecoming. That's going to be a really fun one. So yeah, Taten, what do you think?
Yeah, this one is the one. I mean, like I said earlier, all Big 12 schools, or a lot of the Big 12 schools, had a lot of mix-ups happen this year because of transfers. West Virginia was hit equally as hard, in my opinion, as Iowa State. I think Iowa State was hit the hardest. West Virginia is coming in with 69 new players on their roster. I mean, it's just like it's a situation where another two teams that have been torn apart, put back together by transfers. West Virginia is usually pretty consistent, but also I don't think they have the consistency, like you said, of Lucca that Utah has. I think that Iowa State should be able to get this one done. It's another home game, and like you said, I believe this one is the homecoming game. So yeah, students, everybody's going to be ready to go. I think that Iowa State should get this one done. Again, it's just a situation where West Virginia is a whole new team. We have I personally have no idea what they could look like. Just trying to go. I was trying to piece together some of the transfers that they picked up and look at some of the things that they did last year. Some really great additions for them, but I can't tell because we don't know anything about either team. I think Iowa State will get this one done though. Again, at another nice home game for the Cyclones.
This game is like probably one that I have a couple circled on the calendar. This is probably one of my favorite games this upcoming year. Even though like West Virginia, like they're not supposed to be as good with the whole transfer and everything they went through with Iowa State as well. But just overall, even though it could be two unranked teams fighting, it's still going to be a really good game to watch. I think this game will be really winnable for Iowa State, but also really important for them to win. And also, going back to what you said about the people that have been taken off the team, Taten, how many did you say? 68?
They have. 60? I think they at least have 69 new players coming in. I'm not sure. I mean, they obviously had to replace everything that they lost last year. So I don't know what their transfer numbers look like, but 69 new additions to the roster.
So their defense, all 11 starters from last year are gone. So they have no starters returning from last year in defense, which I think is going to be huge for this game, especially if Iowa State's offense has been struggling up until this point. Obviously, we'll know by October 3rd what the offense looks like. But I think the defense being rebuilt will be a big part of this. Also, I'm really excited to watch Cam Cook run the football. This is going to be – I think Cam Cook was one of the biggest gets of the offseason from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, leading the FBS in rushing yards last year was 1,600, 295 carries and 16 touchdowns from Jacksonville State. Don't know why he chose West Virginia, but I think it's going to be really electric, especially if Iowa State can shut Cam Cook down. But then, just being able to force Michael Hawkins to throw the ball for West Virginia, I think is the key to this one. And I do think Iowa State wins.
I'm really glad you guys mentioned Cam Cook because he's one of the best running backs in the country. I did a full ranking. I think he might have been in my top 5. I've kind of covered him for a while. He's at TCU. He did well, and then he transferred to Jacksonville State for some reason after having like 900 yards. I couldn't believe it, but then obviously he was great there last year. Now he's at West Virginia. I want to say it's because he's back with Rich Rodriguez, who was at Jacksonville State. I'm not completely sure, but I think that potentially could be why. But he's a fantastic player. Obviously, the run game is going to be great, but the rest of the team is, not very good. You guys mentioned there's so many new players coming in. And last year, it's not like, they were 4-8 last year, I think, or something, not great. So West Virginia's got some work to do. It's definitely tough to play in Morgantown, but being in Ames is going to make it a little bit easier. I think this one could go either way, but I think the close loss to Utah is going to motivate Iowa State. I actually think they win this one pretty bad. I don't know why. I think, Iowa State's going to be pretty inconsistent with how they play, but I think this is one of those games. It's like a 27-10 type of win. And Iowa State really puts themselves on the map. And then next up, they're going to go to BYU. That's going to be quite the road game.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to talk about this one too long, but
I was gonna say this is where the big road bump is. Honestly, I don't see Iowa State keeping this one close. I mean BYU is really, I think they're honestly my favorite pick of the Big 12. I know a lot of people
Me
have
too.
Texas
I'm with
Tech,
you on that.
but I think they're going to be really good. I mean 23-4 over the last 2 years, obviously been great. Then playing at Provo, probably one of the most impossible things to do, especially from a Big 12 standpoint.
Mhm.
One of the hardest things to do. Yeah, I could see Iowa State losing this one like 45-13 even. I mean, it's going to be one of those games. Iowa State hits their road bump, especially if on my predictions when I have Utah and West Virginia as both wins, I could really see a 2-game or 3-game win streak and then a big bump like that after those 3 games. So yeah, I don't think Iowa State's going to be able to keep this one close. They might surprise us and make it a 1-score game. Either way, I don't think they're going to get it done there in Provo.
remind me real quick, Taten, who'd you have winning versus West Virginia?
I had Iowa State beating West Virginia. Yep.
Perfect, 3 wins there. Can't say the same for BYU at all. Yeah, like I know you said like if they can keep it within 1, maybe, but if they can keep it within 1, I would give of that win to Iowa State. Like I don't think this is going to be close at all. Like you mentioned, Provo is really hard to play in, especially BYU being one of the top teams in the Big 12. I have them as 2. I don't have them as 1. I still have Texas Tech above them, but I could definitely see BYU jumping into that 1 spot 3 games into the season. They're going to be really good this year. And another year for Bear, old number 47, throwing the rock back there.
Former
Still don't
Stanford
like
guy.
that, but yeah, you covered him.
Yeah.
I like this BYU team too much to say Iowa State even has a chance. So big loss for Iowa State, and I think the players know it too, walking into Provo.
Yeah, 100%. I actually, I didn't mention this, but I did used to cover Stanford. I covered Bear Bachmeier for about a week. And then in the middle of spring camp, he was just like, "No, I'm going to BYU," because Jake Retzlaff ended up getting kicked off the team. So it's funny to watch him play about 3 times. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. I love Bear Bachmeier. I think he's going to be really good. The BYU receiving game is horrible. They lost their top receiver from last year to something to do with the BYU honor code. And yeah, it's gonna be a tough year for their pass game. The run game is fantastic. LJ Martin might even be better than Cam Cook. Like he's amazing. Bear Bachmeier is really good at running the football. They're honestly very similar to Utah. Also great defensively. They always have good O-line, stuff like that. But I think BYU is just more talented overall. They beat Utah last year, even though it was at home. So I honestly have BYU to win the Big 12, but them and Texas Tech are kind of neck and neck there. I'm going 34-7 Cougars. I think they're by far the better team. And the next up, Iowa State is going to go to Arizona, another really tough road game.
Yeah, like you said, another tough road game. Arizona head coach Brent Brennan's done a great job with, or at least last year they did a great job with that program. Honestly, I'm really high on Arizona too. Overall in the Big 12, I think that they'll be one of the top teams for sure. A lot of returning defense. And then they also picked up some big guys in the transfer portal on offense. Seems like they spent quite a bit of money there to revamp that offense. And returning quarterback, I think they've got all the pieces to make a good season. I think they get through Iowa State pretty handedly there at home.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defense. I think this defense is so legit. And like a lot of people aren't acknowledging how good this defense is going to be. And Arizona as a whole, I think is, even though they're considered to be the top half of the Big 12, I think that they're still underrated. I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year. And also going to Arizona, I mean, you talk about it like Provo. They're not Provo, but it's still hard to play in Arizona. And so I think this game is going to be pretty close. Iowa State can still score on that defense, I believe. I don't think they're that good, but also they're good enough to limit their scoring to 2 touchdowns at most. I don't see Iowa State blowing the doors off the Wildcats here, but I also don't see the Wildcats blowing the doors off Iowa State. I think it's going to be a very back and forth match with Noah Fafita back there. I think. See, this is tough because I want to give it to Iowa State, but I got to be realistic. I think Arizona squeaks out the win here. I could see like a 17-14 game or something, a field goal to win it. But yeah, Arizona wins it.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, after BYU, Iowa State's going to be rattled. It's so tough to play in Provo. And then they got to go to Tucson. And it's not, I mean, it's going to be easier, but not by much. Noah Fafita is a very underrated player. I believe he's a 3-year starter at Arizona right now. And this program, I mean, they consistently are getting 8 wins. Arizona is, they're kind of a wagon now. And so Iowa State, I mean, you're going to have to go pretty much cross country to get out there. It's tough to play at Arizona, tougher than people may think. And yeah, I mean, they're very proven. The offense, I mean, they got a lot of returners, which is something you don't really see much in college football. And so yeah, Arizona's, I think, pretty scary. They're not, the best team in the Big 12, but they're probably in the top 5. It's gonna be tough to play there. And so yeah, I think Arizona gets this one done pretty easily, which sets up Iowa State coming off 2 or 3 losses, kind of depending on what you think, going into Oklahoma State at home.
This one's a home matchup, but and honestly, it's a big game that's up in the air too. Oklahoma State, another one of those teams in the Big 12 that's added a lot of new pieces. But I think I'm going to give this one to Oklahoma State. The Cowboys will get it done in Ames, and I just think it's because Mestemaker, obviously, we saw him prove himself last year. Great quarterback, 34 touchdowns, over 4,000 passing yards. He's going to be able to get it done. And also what kind of helps with that is they invested a lot into that North Texas roster. Believe they brought their coach over to, brought a lot of the roster with. It was a very talented North Texas team last year. I know that, based off of Oklahoma State from last season to this season, who knows, but I think Oklahoma State will get it done based on the offense that they've been able to kind of build. And honestly, again, it kind of just goes with Mestemaker probably being able to outplay the Iowa State secondary.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all. Mestemaker is the key to this one. I think a lot of people are going to be shocked about how good he is this year, especially being under the radar at North Texas, now getting to an FBS program and playing in the Big 12 is going to be something that's going to put him on the map. And coming with his coach, like you mentioned, Eric Morris, bringing a lot. I don't know exactly how many players, but I know it's a lot amount of the North Texas roster. Yeah, it was a big number. And so having his players that he's coached for so long come to Oklahoma State, and he knows this, they know the system. I think this game is going to be a lot relying on the defense, because I don't think the offense. I don't think Iowa State's defense is going to be able to really stop Mestemaker. I think the key to this one is keeping up with the offense. If Iowa State can keep up with Oklahoma State scoring wise and maybe squeak out the final touchdown and get one stop or something, I think that's the key to victory here. But overall, I think that their offense is just too explosive. And I think that this will be the best offense Iowa State will play all season. Call it a hot take, maybe not. But I think it's going to be surprising to a lot of people. So Oklahoma State gets it done.
I agree with you on that. Did either of you guys see the Oklahoma State headline from yesterday on ESPN?
I didn't see that.
Eric Morris shoots and kills an armadillo. Okay.
Oh, nice.
It's on like ESPN. I was like,
that's my type of coach right there.
Good to know.
That's hilarious.
Right. But
at practice,
I don't know. It was on ESPN, I guess. I couldn't believe my brother
interrupting his practice.
Like, why? Yeah, I had no idea. But anyway,
I'll do some research while you talk.
Okay. Yeah. So this one's gonna be a crazy game. Oklahoma State is known for losing at Iowa State, that big game in, was it 2012, I think.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm insanely high on Oklahoma State. I have them like preseason top 25. I think they're fantastic. Mestemaker, Wyatt Young, Caleb Hawkins, Ethan Westlowski on defense. I think the defense is going to be a little bit better than expected. Obviously, Eric Morris from North Texas now coming to Oklahoma State. But Iowa State wins it. Oklahoma State goes into the game 7-0 or 6-1 or something really good. But Iowa State, they're going to be more comfortable being at home. They love playing Oklahoma State. They beat them last year. Zane Flores is the backup quarterback. Unfortunately, I don't think he sees any action. He was at Oklahoma State last year. But yeah, it's going to be a high-scoring game, 45-42 Iowa State. Game of the year. I think Cyclone's going to have to win.
If Iowa State can win this game, I mean, that's a season trajectory changer. Like, if they can beat Oklahoma State, this is a legit team.
No, 100%.
And that builds so much confidence for years going into the future too.
Yeah.
So, but I got the information after you go, Taten.
I was just going to mention, before you got onto the ESPN article about the armadillo, I was just going to mention, especially this game, like you said, is such a big game because those last 4 games in November are all, winnable games. They're not powerhouses in the Big 12 programs that year in, year out are kind of hit or miss. So I think that this is such a huge win, like you said, to traject the team into the right direction, especially as the season wraps up.
Yeah. So now the news that we all care about. So Eric Morris shot and killed an armadillo in his backyard. This is the quote he gave. "My brain's going constantly, so I don't sleep very well. I've had a couple of armadillo problems tearing up my yard. Finally, a couple of days ago, I just popped up at 2:30 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and I thought it was a great opportunity for me to go outside, and luckily I found him. Had to send a text message to my neighbors. I apologize for the gunshot. I am in the country, so it's legal, but I did get rid of him." So
give it up for ESPN. I mean, just huge quality stories, right?
This is what I want to hear about. Right? This is the sports news I care about.
That's some real fall cam news.
If an armadillo is what's going to get them over the hump, then I mean, an armadillo might have to die, I guess.
There we go. So, after that, Iowa State's going to go on the road down to Waco, Texas to play the Baylor Bears. This is, I think, a true 50-50 game. Taten, what do you think?
I think Iowa State wins their first away game of the season here at Baylor. I'm not super – this is their 4th year, I believe, under their head coach, Dave Aranda. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it's their 4th year under him. It's been disappointing all 4 years. They've had losing seasons the past 4 seasons. DJ Lagway is back, but outside of that's about it for me anyway. I mean, the defense is really going to be an issue, I think, for Baylor this year. And if Iowa State's offense is able to show any signs of competency through this point of the season, I think they'll be able to easily torch Baylor's defense and get a win at Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Lucca. This is really a 50-50. I think that both teams are pretty even when it comes to skill. The biggest thing Baylor has is just this team has been together more than Iowa State. And so this game could go either way. I do think that it being in Baylor is not the worst thing because that home field advantage isn't something that I think too fondly of, but it's still a factor. But a lot of this definitely comes down to where Iowa State is at coming into this part of the season. If they're coming off a win to Oklahoma State, I'm not worried about a Baylor. But if they, lose to Oklahoma State, lose to Arizona, lose really badly to BYU, which is definitely a really possible outcome here, and then you tack on top of that a loss to West Virginia on homecoming, I think Baylor wins it. I think this game is just really all about momentum. Both teams have what it takes to win, and it's just who wants it more.
Yeah, I think honestly,
Iowa State wins.
Okay.
That's
I think the entire second half of the season is going to be a lot of 50-50, just depending on momentum. But I do think Iowa State drops on the road. I mean, Baylor, they're not fantastic. We'll see about Lagway, but their system really, helps quarterbacks out. And I'm kind of expecting DJ Lagway to at least get a bit of momentum, not throw 5 interceptions against LSU, because I don't think that was hopefully a one-time thing for him. But we'll see. I mean, Baylor, they're a decent squad. Aranda's kind of playing for his job this year, or coaching for his job, and I think he'll keep it. I think Baylor will be good enough. And so Baylor will win a close one here. Next up I believe is Iowa State hosting Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's next, and it's another, like you said, the last 3 are really 50-50. This one's a big 50-50 game, but I honestly think Cincinnati gets this one, and that's just because I'm really high on the Georgia Southern QB JC French. I liked his play style. I like the way he does things. They've got 3 starting offensive linemen coming back from last year. I know Sorsby's gone, but like I said, French is a good replacement for him, I believe. And with the 3 offensive linemen, I think that the rest of their offense is going to be able to, we watched them play Iowa State last year, and they did it. They just ran the ball down the throat. And I think that's just something that we did see Iowa State's improvements to the defensive line over the transfer portal this offseason, but I still think that Cincinnati's just going to get it done. I know it's a 50-50 game, but that's the one I have.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be really interesting because, I mean, it's the same thing as Baylor that like anyone can win, but I think a lot of it is because these teams are sort of more new and put together more recently. And so a lot of it is both these teams are seeing how good they are. And at this point in the season, I'm sure we'll know majority of the team, like how good the positions are. But like, I really like JC French versus Jalen Raynor, two MAC guys now coming to the Big 12. And we're going to see like who can make the jump. If both can make the jump,
Were they
good
MAC?
for
I
the
thought
Big
they were.
12.
I thought they were Sun Belt.
Or Sun Belt, my bad.
Okay.
Yes, Sun Belt. But yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting part of it. You mentioned that they ran all over Iowa State last year, which they did, but also Cincinnati's really bad at stopping their run, and they have been for a long time under Scott Satterfield. But I think a lot of this is going to come down to running. I think Iowa State does get the win here, and it's because they invested in a dual threat quarterback in Jalen Raynor. And they also have a Cam Petaway. I mean, last year Raynor had I'll pull it up. 11.8 carries per game, 423 total carries. He ran the ball a bunch, or yards, excuse me. He averaged half a touchdown a game, 7 total. He rushes a lot, and his ability to throw is also going to be a part of this. So if they can do more play action or RPO, whatever it is that can sell the run, but can also drop back into pass if they need to, I think they get the win. And then also, real quick, another part is just the schedule. Like Cincinnati has a really hard schedule, especially in the middle part. Like they're coming when they play Iowa State, they play. They go Arizona, then West Virginia, then Texas Tech, then Utah, then Houston, then Iowa State. So if they're on like a really bad, yeah, I know, right? If they're like on a really bad streak of, losses, I think it sort of gets out of hands and goes towards Iowa State. Especially if they're playing, younger players. They're like, the season's over. We got to try out some new guys. But I think Iowa State gets it done.
Yeah, interesting. So I guess I'm kind of the decider here. I think Taten hit the nail on the head. Definitely with the O-line. I mean, Cincinnati is known for their offensive line this year. Like you mentioned, three returning starters and just overall a really good unit there. Scott Satterfield's a really good head coach. He's one of my favorite in the Big 12, and he's kind of veteran, not at Cincinnati, but just in general in college football. And then JC French, I think he's pretty good. I liked him last year at Georgia Southern. Similar to Jalen Raynor, I don't think he's as good, but he's a decent player. Cincinnati's not bad. They also brought in my guy Cole Tab from Stanford, who's probably going to be their starter at running back, but they kind of have a RB1 battle. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Cincinnati's not a bad team, but going into Ames, Iowa State's, I think, a little bit better overall. I mean, they might not be a better coach team or anything, but I think they're similar on talent. Iowa State being at home helps a lot. They have the star power with Jalen Raynor and Conrarity and Isaac Terrell and all these guys. So I think Iowa State gets it done. They have the more important players. So, yeah, they're going to be able to get the win there. And then second to last game of the year, Iowa State goes on the road down to UCF.
So this is, again, another close matchup, but we're going to have no idea what these teams really are going to look like till the season starts. But UCF is one of those teams that I think Iowa State's going to be able to get the win over at UCF. And that's just because I think the Scott Frost reunion run takes a dump down this year. They step down. I mean, I don't see them being anything super great. I know they got Barnett from James Madison, a great quarterback. But they lost a lot of running backs and quarterbacks last year. I mean, Barnett was the pickup for them, and I assume he'll be the starter. I wouldn't see why not. So just it's a situation where I like Scott Frost. I like what he did at UCF before. I loved the idea of him coming back last year to coach that team. I think they take a drop off this year. I think they're one of the bottom teams of the Big 12. And I think Iowa State gets it done.
Yeah. A lot of what I'm noticing, I mean, I've looked through the schedule, but like actually talking through the schedule is really putting into perspective a lot of the 50-50 games then the schedule. Like if they can get through the gauntlet, this season could turn out like they could find a bowl game. There's a possibility.
Yeah,
is that likely? Probably not, but it's definitely a possibility. And so UCF, I mean, it's as 50-50 as I think it gets besides Baylor. Alonzo Barnett, I think, was a really good pickup from James Madison, given how good he is at being a dual threat. I mean, if you think Jalen Raynor's good as a dual threat, he's outstanding. Like 589 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns is not something that you should take lightly from the quarterback position. So that's going to be a huge factor in if Iowa State wants it, they have to stop the scrambling. And also just, I mean, UCF's had good defenses for a long time. And especially for it being senior day, I mean, I don't know how much that plays into it for UCF, but I think
that was the only thing about home games for UCF is that stadium is so small. It's just, I don't really.
Yeah, I've never. That's like the one stadium I want to visit just to see like in perspective of like how crammed does it actually feel?
The bounce house.
Yep. Yeah. But overall, I think this game is a lot of just like you got to see where the teams are at when the matchup actually comes, and a lot of both these teams are so like up in the air. I'm gonna give it to. Oh man. I guess Cincinnati. I had Iowa State being Cincinnati. I'll give Iowa State the win. They beat Baylor, Cincinnati, and UCF in mine.
There we go.
No.
All right. So for me, I love Alonzo Barnett. Came from James Madison. I will say, James Madison didn't make the playoff because of Alonzo Barnett. Their running back Wayne Knight. He's at UCLA now. He definitely played a big part of it. But Alonzo Barnett wasn't bad. Like you mentioned, very good dual threat, good quarterback in general. Scott Frost, I mean, obviously he was great the first time when they won the national championship. If you would count it that, I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, I think this time around, Scott Frost hasn't been great. A lot tougher when you're playing in the Big 12. There's so many 50-50 games every week. I will say, though, I think UCF wins this game. The bounce house is always loud, even though it's kind of small. It is tough to play. Iowa State does have to go pretty much across the entire country out to Central Florida, so makes things tough as well. But again, you know, all these games really at the end of the year are 50-50, but I think I lean UCF on this one. Now, ending the year, Kansas State, Farmageddon. Obviously, last year they played in Ireland. This is going to be a really good one.
I think that no matter what level that these two teams were at this point in the season, it's going to be a 50-50 matchup. I think that just the rivalry between these two is too much. It's been too much the last 5 years. It's really grown. I mean, it's always been a big thing. It's really grown over the last 5 to 7 years. And maybe that came with the Big 12 announcing that they were going to get rid of it and not do it every season. So, you know, I honestly, I'm going to give the win to Iowa State. And that's just because Colin Klein, new head coach, don't know what he's got yet. Probably going to be all right, though. And then Avery Johnson, I've just never been a big Avery Johnson fan. I just, it's nothing, again, I just, the play style is not I don't know how to describe it either. It's just, I've never seen him as a great quarterback. I've seen him as overhyped when he was hyped up there for a little bit. Last season, I think was just kind of a show to what he really can do. And it was nothing special. So I think Iowa State gets it done. Yeah, the 110th Farmageddon. Yep. I mean,
wow,
it's getting up there. That's a lot of Farmageddon.
I said, this is the last year, right? And then the next year they don't play it, or is it?
Yeah, they'll find a way to get it going.
Yeah, that's so dumb. Like, I mean, the whole that's such a big part of college football. It's like the rivalry games, but
100%
whatever.
With you on that.
I mean, last year me and Taten were in Ireland, boots on the ground for that game.
There you go.
So that game was, I mean, electric. I mean, just the environment as a whole. Iowa State fans showed out so much more than Kansas State fans. Like, it wasn't even funny. Like, the amount of people I ran into that like had Kansas State jerseys on were just like people that lived in Ireland that picked the team. And so it was, and there was also like pep rallies that we went to. Like the Iowa State pep rally was like insane. Like there was, if you ever seen, what was it, Queen at Live Aid or whatever, it's like they're playing in a stadium and it's like hundreds of thousands of people. That's what it was like. It was crazy. And just like that speaks to the aspect of this game, like how important Farmageddon is. Like you don't think of Farmageddon all that often when you think of Iowa State. You think of like Cy-Hawk and stuff like that. But this rivalry is truly like 50-50. Like Taten said, whoever comes in the better team, throw that out the window because anyone can win this game. And then the Avery Johnson thing, like I've also never been a big Avery Johnson guy. Me and Taten were in Ireland when his dad fought his younger brother because like that whole situation, dude, that was crazy. We get back to the hotel after the game and like Twitter's blowing up like Avery Johnson's dad getting into a fist fight with his son because his other son was bad, or like there's just so much going on with Avery Johnson. And just, I mean, I know a lot of this is just like outside things. Like you can't say that his dad fighting his other kid is why they're going to lose Iowa State this year. Yeah. But I'm not going on a side rant. Anyways, Iowa State, I think, gets this done, especially with it being at home is so important. You saw the aspect of it being at home in Ireland in a sense because of how many fans were there. And also, again, another 50-50 game. And as much as I want to say Iowa State loses this because I'm not confident now that I'm looking at my predictions with Iowa State winning 4 games to end the season, I think Iowa State wins it. So maybe I'll have to go back and tweak it to lose to Baylor or something, but Iowa State will win against Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I've always been an Avery Johnson believer. Hasn't really worked out in my favor. I remember watching that game in Ireland last year saying Avery Johnson was better than Rocco Becht. Never say that again. I'll never say that again.
I will say, to be fair, at the start of the game, I don't know if Taten remembers, I said something along the lines of
there we go.
Rocco Becht. I did say something along the lines that Rocco Becht was not going to be good this year, and I was like, I'm not too confident in him. And then every time Rocco Becht put a highlight reel up there, I looked over and Taten was already making direct eye contact with me.
I think that, well, speaking back to last year, it's the one game that's got me excited for Overby coming back. I mean, that catch that he made there in the corner of the end zone.
We were right there. It was crazy.
So cool. And then, but I think after that throw from Rocco, dropping it right in the breadbasket there, the corner of the end zone, I think that you kind of switched your mind up a little bit from Avery Johnson.
I remember looking over at it was either you or someone else, and I said, "All right, he's pretty good." and then I just got to enjoy the rest of the Rocco show. But
there we go. Yeah. Hopefully Overby can catch the ball a little bit this year. But anyway, I will say, Avery Johnson, was it his freshman year, I think, where he was actually pretty good, and that's because he was under Colin Klein as an OC. Now he's there as the head coach. So I do think, I'm not going to pretend that I think Avery Johnson can be amazing, but I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be probably middle of the pack quarterback, similar to DJ Lagway's. He'll just be all right. But yeah, unfortunately, I think Kansas State wins it. They have a really easy schedule. They also have a really good running back, and I think his name is Joe Jackson. Just a really good running back. And yeah, I think they're probably going to go 8-4, 9-3. And the reality is Iowa State going into the game at 5-6, I believe. It's going to be really tough yes, they're going to be, wanting to get into a bowl game, but Kansas State's going to be playing probably some more meaningful football. So unfortunately, I do think it's going to go to the Wildcats to end the season. So Nathan, why don't you read off, if you wrote it down, how each season?
I did. I need some support from Taten here because for some reason I just always miss who he.
There was quite a few where I was just like we were just
rambling. We need to say who we thought was going. Who do you think is going to win between Baylor and UCF?
I think Iowa State, which I think I said win both. Actually, is what I said. Yeah, I said win both for that one.
Okay, and I think you might have Iowa State at 8 wins this year. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I do too. And now that you're saying that, it's making me really go back, and I'm like, this is insane. But there's so many.
There's a lot of games that could go both ways. There really is.
The Big 12 is just so open this year, and Iowa State got the better part of the schedule. They got the easier half.
True.
So
the schedule is so huge here.
I mean, it's if Iowa State was playing Texas Tech to Arizona State, schools like that instead, then obviously the schedule would look a little bit different. But since they're getting thrown against Baylor, Cincinnati, UCF, a bunch of teams that have just as many question marks as Iowa State, maybe it's like I just, and maybe a little bias went into that too. I don't know, but
all right, none of us had the same record, so there's that. And Taten was not the highest on the Iowa State Cyclones this year.
Oh, really?
No. I was, which I find very shocking because I've been pretty critical of them, just talking to people.
What'd you put?
Okay, so I have them at going 8-4.
Oh my goodness.
which would be like best case scenario.
That'd
Like,
be the best
100%.
possible season.
That's definitely
that would be
that's definitely
insane.
the feeling.
If they go 8-4 this year, the future is so bright.
Oh,
So
100%. Yeah. Way higher than I think.
And then Taten had the worst record.
No
I'm
way.
kidding.
No
Lucca
way.
had the worst record.
I was like, no way.
Luca's a Cyclone believer. No, Lucca had him going 5-7,
Okay,
which
that's what I thought,
very
yeah.
very likely outcome.
Yeah, I'm
game-
between 4-8 and 5-7, but the schedule just kind of I think 5-7 makes more sense.
You don't think they can squeak in and get that 6-1 for a bowl game?
I think they're right there. I think they're right there, but unfortunately, they're gonna fall just short.
And Taten also has him making a bowl game, going 7-5.
Wow, there we go. You guys are high on the boys this year.
Mhm.
I suppose I think 7-5, 6-6 is honestly just based on the schedule a good spot, and I think that'd be I'd be so happy for that for this season too.
Yeah.
If they can go 500 and go 6-6, I'm very happy with this team.
Yes.
8-4. I can't believe looking back at that.
Yeah.
I think in retrospect, me and Taten, let's go back and see who we would change real quick. So Taten, we both have wins to Simo. That's not going to change. Bowling Green, I assume that's not going to change. Utah. Would you like to reevaluate Utah?
No, I think
I'm thinking about
we don't know.
reevaluating Utah.
I just there's a lot of question marks. We don't know, and I'm gonna take my 7-5 and be really happy with it. Maybe an optimistic prediction, but I'm gonna keep it at that because I'm gonna be optimistic about this team this year. There's no reason not to. The transfer additions look great. They were great last year for the teams that they played for. We'll just see if it correlates or not to Big 12 play. But honestly, there's no reason for it not to. I think that against the schedule Iowa State's got 7-5 is doable.
Awesome. Nathan, are you keeping your 8-4?
I feel like I'm going to change it just a little bit. I think it's interesting that you have Iowa State beating Oklahoma State, and me and Taten have them losing to Oklahoma State. But then Baylor next week, you have them losing to Baylor, but us beating, we have them beating Baylor.
I mean, that's the beauty of the Big 12.
That is the beauty of the Big 12. I would say if I was to change, the loss that I would give them here would probably be.
It's gotta be Utah.
I would probably, I think Utah's the one that would change. I could 7-5 with a loss to Utah, and then if I really wanted to go 6-6, which I think is probably the most likely outcome, I would probably give the win to Kansas State.
Okay.
As much as I hate to say that, I could see Kansas State winning that.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, there's a real possibility that the team goes 2-9 this year, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's just that there's so many of we don't know. So
beauty of the Big 12.
Yeah.
That is the Big 12.
So yeah, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys had a good time here. We're gonna be doing about twice a week, probably once a week until football season starts. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you later.